Hanover Square Press and HarlequinAudio present Good Game, No Rematch, A Life Made of Video Games by Mike Drucker. This is the author. For Mom, Dad, Tiffany, and Daniel, this is all your fault. Section 1. Your Sad Electric Son. Falling in love with a plumber. I would love to say that I was born with a controller in my hands, but that would have ultimately meant a horrifying injury for my mother. Plus, how did the controller even get in there? Was it supposed to be in there? Did it get stuck? How would I have even known how to hold it? It's a metaphor that begs a lot of questions. I was 3 when we got a Nintendo Entertainment System for my sister's birthday. It's one of my first core memories, along with being way too hot at a carnival and being terrified of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I don't remember many of my birthdays from childhood, but I'll always remember my sister's 7th. Nintendo is now an elder statesman in the video game ecosystem, but in the 80s, especially in North America, video games were in a bad place. While it had dominated the market in the late 70s and early 80s with hits like Adventure and Pitfall, Atari began to overplay its hand and rush awful, pretty much unfinished material out the door. Fans had faced an avalanche of terrible games that nobody bought. Case in point, the famous story of E.T. the Extraterrestrial for Atari, a game so terrible that hundreds of copies were literally thrown into a garbage dump. It was either that or just chuck the game's box at people and hope someone took it home. There was a moment between the decline of Atari and the rise of Nintendo that some people thought video games were just a passing fad. While computers like the Sinclair ZX and Spectrum had better luck in Europe with games, the market was still rough. By the time we got a Nintendo, owning an Atari was almost quaint. The Nintendo Entertainment System is what saved games, or at least saved console games as we know them. Otherwise, I'm sure obtuse World War II simulators would probably still be coming out on PC. I would still play them, and I would still be bad at them. When we finally got our hands on an NES, Nintendo's slogan was, "Now you're playing with power!" which feels more like a warning you give a child who's about to put a butter knife into an electrical outlet. While the NES's counterpart in Japan, the Famicom, had bright red and gold colors with a plastic sheen that screamed toy, Nintendo went the opposite direction in the West. Their system looked like a VCR, a fancy VCR that would rarely work until you blew into the cartridge, no matter how many times Nintendo warned us to not do that exact thing. As I said, our family got the original Nintendo for my sister's birthday, but we definitely both wanted it. By the time we got around to acquiring the system, 3 years after its release, we had seen endless television commercials, print ads, and merchandise. One commercial had a group of cool kids stunned as their TV broke open, and Rob the Robot came out. Holy shit! Rob, or Robotic Operating Buddy, was part of Nintendo's strategy to make their system seem high-tech. But seem is important here since Rob the Robot never amounted to anything. There were only 2 official games made for the toy. 2! Even then, it played those games with the energy of a retired fax machine. While I hadn't played a Nintendo game yet, again, I was 3, my sister had. What she described sounded like a dream. Pipes, mushrooms, secret warp zones. And there was another game on the same cartridge where you hunted ducks with a plastic gray gun called the Zapper. I was little, I was impressionable, and this sounded like toys where the toys played back. It's important to note that we knew we were getting an NES. My parents had told us that, mostly so my sister didn't ask for anything else. But we still had to get through the birthday itself. We went out for a special breakfast, no Nintendo yet. We waited for Grandma and Grandpa, no Nintendo yet. We had cake, no Nintendo yet. They made us wait until the night before giving us the present. Then the screaming began, in a good way. The box was cool as hell, especially the sci-fi packaging, which looked less like your parents had bought a plastic device from Sears and more like something fell off the back of the space shuttle. Inside the box was the console, controllers, and a cartridge that contained Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt. While Duck Hunt and Mario were originally available on their own, around 1986 they started selling the 2 on a single cartridge bundled with the console and what they called the action set. And it included the aforementioned Zapper light gun. Forgot that part. Big shooty games have existed longer than video games. You can still play them at carnivals. It made sense to translate that attraction into something for home audiences, especially since Nintendo literally made an analog hunting game called Duck Hunt in the 70s. Footnote: It worked by projecting images onto
Sample complete. Ready to continue?